All right, folks, it's a story out of North Carolina that captured our attention, and unfortunately, it's the death of another black man at the hands of police officers. The Raleigh Medical Examiners Office had determined that Darryl Tyree Williams died from sudden cardiac arrest in the setting of cocaine intoxication, physical exertion, conducted energy weapon use, and physical restraint. Darryl and a friend were sitting in a parked car on January 17th when police approached the vehicle, conducting what Raleigh police call preventative policing. The officers asked the men to get out of the car, which they did. Darryl continued to ask, what did they do? That's when things took a turn for the worse. The scuffle between Williams and three Raleigh cops began. Officers handcuffed Darryl but continued to tase him until he lost consciousness. He repeatedly told the officers that he had heart issues. Williams died in the hospital an hour later. 6 officers are on leave as the State Bureau investigated the incident. The SBI has submitted its case file to Wake County DA Lauren Freeman, who will determine whether criminal charges are appropriate. To discuss this, we're joined now by Kerwin Pittman, social justice activist. Kerwin, so I'm trying to understand something here. What the hell is preventative policing?
So preventative policing is nothing more than a fancy name for Raleigh's own stop and frisk. And so what this means and what I mean is that Raleigh police officers will literally walk up to people and just start asking them questions and then try to search these individuals, whether you're in a vehicle or you're just out on foot. And so it's nothing more than Raleigh's own version of stop and frisk, plain and simple.
Okay, so Darryl and a friend were in a car. Where were they? Were they on the street in front of the home? Were they in a restaurant parking lot? Where were they and what were they doing?
They was actually in a car in front of a gaming shop, and they was actually inside of the car talking, doing nothing more than talking, wasn't bothering anybody, was actually on private property of this business, and so law enforcement just decided to walk onto the private property of this business and start to ask them questions, and initially open their door and just try to figure out a way to really instigate the situation and really mess with these individuals, and this is what they term as proactive patrolling or preventative policing.
Obviously, you're going to have police say, well, you know, he had cocaine in his system, but I'm still stuck on why would you just walk up to somebody for no apparent reason and then, I mean, they have to be doing something. You must be observing them doing something. These two were just in the car talking?
These two was just in the car talking. Darryl Williams was doing nothing more than being a black man in Raleigh, North Carolina, and in America. And of course, we know that is justification enough in their eyes to stop black and brown individuals and really escalate situations, harass them, and whatever the case may be. And so it is an extreme sad situation. Darryl Williams lost his life in a manner like this.
Any word in terms of how long a DA is going to take to review this investigation file?
So the DA normally takes 30 days, right? So Raleigh Police Department has a history of brutalizing, terrorizing, and murdering black and brown citizens. And not one time out of any of those incidents has the DA came back with a decision to charge any of these officers. So normally these findings take 30 days after the autopsy is released. But it will surprise me if she decides to do anything, even though we can clearly see that is criminal negligence on the part of Raleigh Police Department at play from all angles.
All right, Kerwin Pittman, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Candace, I want to go to you. Preventative policing?
You can't call it preventative policing, but it doesn't prevent a death. That's not policing. That makes no sense. The other thing about this is that you had someone that told these 6 police officers, I believe, that he had heart condition. Why do you have 6 police officers holding down one man? Now, according to the report, in terms of his autopsy, he was obese. He had a heart problem. This sounds like somebody that 6 police officers without tasing could probably subdue in some way besides tasing the person and then putting him in a prone position. You know what happens when you put a baby in a prone position? Sudden infant death syndrome. That's why they say you don't put anybody, not even a baby, adult, nobody, on their front for that long. So how all of this is something that these police officers did not know going in, I cannot understand. Now, unfortunately, what might happen, just like the previous guest said, is that in 30 days, there may not be any type of charge. This was deemed a homicide, which is a simple killing of one person of another. It's nothing criminal about it yet. There are no charges that have been filed. But what's going to happen here potentially is that they're going to look at the fact that there were drugs in his system. They're going to look at the fact that he did have a heart problem. They're going to look at the fact that he was obese and that there were these other contributing factors to his death. What they have to do is the first thing that you were talking about, and they meaning the attorneys for his family, is they have to prove that this was just an unlawful approaching of the car to begin with. If he was just sitting in there being black in America at 2 a.m. in the morning, 5 a.m., it doesn't matter. He has the right to do that. And that's where I think that the police will have a problem in this process.
Mm-hmm. Reese.
I mean, I just don't understand how, we've seen traffic stops. We've seen, accusations of a crime being committed, escalated, and none of those were justification for executing a person. But damn, just sitting in the car, if you sit in your car high off crack or coke or whatever it is, okay, you're not bothering nobody at that exact moment. And how does that escalate to being now killed by the police? It's just crazy. Like, the idea of what public safety is really, really fucked up when public safety involves a man who was sitting in a car ending up dead because of preventative measures. That's not preventative measures. That's active measures of harassing, racially profiling, and inflicting violence on Black people just for shits and giggles, just because you can, just because 6 of y'all ain't got nothing to do. Go get a donut or something and leave Black people the hell alone.
Greg?
Absolutely. In a second Biden-Harris administration, Merrick Garland can be excused from his non-service, and Kristen Clark should be the Attorney General of the United States. She should be on speed dial. I know Al Sharpton likes to say that Ben Crump is Black America's Attorney General, but I think that Kristen Clark, in many ways, is Black America's Attorney General. Back in April, Rolling Stone ran an article on the Raleigh police and this funky little ass unit they got called the Department's Vice and Selective Enforcement Unit, their version of SWAT, where they running up in houses looking for drugs. Pattern in practice? Come on, Deputy Attorney General Clark. Come on, sister. We know what you do. We know how you get down, and you've been incredibly consistent. It's time to open up a can of whoop ass in the city of Raleigh. And that's all I got to say about that.